I've been thinking about getting a new background. Even Violet Deliriums has pointed out that the one in my last video was a bit wrinkled. GameMasters here, and speaking of backgrounds, today we are going to take a look at two backgrounds presented up in the new Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants book. The giant Foundling is the first new background presented. In essence, you're not a giant, but you grew up around them. Perhaps they found you as an infant and took you in, or perhaps there was a war between two giant factions, and one of them crushed your family's farm, and your family was killed, and the guilt got to one of them over the destruction, and the sympathetic giant vowed to take you in and take care of you. In short, the very name Foundling explains it all. You were found and taken in under the care of giants. As a result, you have grown up around giants, and because of this, perhaps the food they eat or the latent magic that surrounds some of them, you may have grown to a remarkable size for your kind, and you've learned how to embody the might and glory of the giants around you, thus bolstering your skills and outlook on life. You gain proficiencies in both intimidation and survival, and you know the language of giants, as well as one other language of your choice. You'll start off with a simple backpack, some traveler's clothes, a small stone or stick that reminds you of home, and a small pouch that contains 10 gold pieces. Now, we just mentioned a couple of different ways as a foundling that you came to be, or possibly came to be, in the company of giants, but there is also a table provided of other origin possibilities, or you can create your own. As a foundling, you also gain the Strike of Giants feat, and we'll cover the feats in just a moment. The second background is the Rune Carver. Your life's focus has been on the study of runes and crafting them. Whether under the guidance of a skilled rune carver or through intense examination of age-old engravings, you possess the ability to access the mystical potential that runes hold. The origin of runecraft can be traced back to giants, but as time has passed, this skill has been embraced by various other cultures. And while giant runes are the most often encountered, a lot of rune carvers will bring elements and symbols of their own native tongue into the craft. As a rune carver, you are proficient in history and perception. You also are proficient in one set of artisan's tools, and you know the language of giants. You'll start off with your choice of artisan's tools: a small knife, a whetstone, a set of common clothes, and a pouch containing 10 gold. It goes on to explain that each rune carver will have their own unique style, but for a quick reference, they also provide a table that you can roll on. You also gain the Rune Shaper feat, but like the Strike of Giants feat for the Foundling, we'll cover feats, actually next. But before we jump into the feats, I want to thank these background members for helping out this channel. They have my eternal thanks, and if you'd like to become a member, I'll leave a link down in the description. The feats in Bigby Presents have a prerequisite, which corresponds to the backgrounds we just talked about. The first feat is the Rune Shaper, and its prerequisite is that you must either have the spellcasting feature or the Rune Carver background. Okay, breaks down like this. You've studied the mystical aspects of giant runes, and in turn has granted you the ability to comprehend languages. You learn the Comprehend Languages spell. Moreover, you can cast it without expending a spell slot, but you must finish a long rest before you can cast it without expending a spell slot again. But you can also cast Comprehend Languages using any spell slots that you have. You also gain Rune Magic. You know a number of runes equal to half your proficiency bonus, rounded down, chosen from the rune spells table. Anytime that you finish a long rest, you can inscribe each rune that you know onto one weapon, armor, clothing, or any other object that you touch, provided that it's non-magical to begin with, and you will temporarily learn the first level spells that correspond to the rune you inscribed, again based on the rune spells table, and they stay with you until you finish a long rest, at which point the rune simply fades. Further, you can invoke a rune from an object and cast its associated spell without expending a spell slot or using material components. The second feat is Strike of the Giants, and it has a prerequisite of needing to either having the martial weapon proficiency or having the giant foundling background. Strike of the Giants is explained as you having absorbed primeval giant magic that has given you an echo of a giant's might. Along with this echo comes with your choice of a benefit. For example, you might choose Cloud Strike, in which your target will take an extra 1d4 thunder damage, and if it was a creature, it has to pass a wisdom saving throw, otherwise you will become invisible to it. Fire Strike makes the target take an extra 1d10 fire damage, whereas Frost Strike makes the target take an extra 1d6 cold damage, also making it possible for that creature to be frozen in place for a short time. Hill Strike deals an extra 1d6 damage of your weapon's type and can potentially knock the creature you're hitting prone. Stone Strike can cause an extra 1d6 force damage and can push the target back by 10 feet. Storm Strike dishes out an extra 1d6 lightning damage and can give a creature that you're attacking disadvantage on attack rolls. Unless it's a stork. Depending on which strike you have chosen, you will also gain access to additional effects. For example, picking Fire Strike gives you Ember of the Fire Giant, in which your Strength, Constitution, Wisdom score will increase by 1 up to a maximum of 20. Plus, you have resistance to fire damage. Plus, you gain Searing Ignition, in which you can replace an attack with a magical burst of flame that does 1d8 plus your proficiency bonus in damage and causes the blinding condition upon creatures that it hits. Well, provided they failed their save. If, however, you chose Hill Strike, you would gain Vigor of the Hill Giant, which also increases your Strength, Constitution, or Wisdom by 1 point, up to a maximum of 20. And whenever you are subjected to an effect that would push you, pull you, move you at least 5 feet, or cause you to be knocked prone, you can use your reaction to kind of steady yourself. You won't be moved, and you won't have the prone condition. You also gain an Iron Stomach. Basically, when you eat food as part of a short rest and spend 1 or more hit die to regain hit points, you regain additional hits equal to your con modifier plus your proficiency bonus. There are more abilities, again, all based on the strike that you picked from Strike of the Giants. But what do you guys think of what all we've covered? I mean, giants should be seen as larger than life and beyond powerful. And while we aren't provided or given ways to play as giants in this new Bigby Presents book, the backgrounds and feats that we just explored gets us pretty close. Talk to me down in the comments. Players, is this something that you are looking to craft up with a future character or add to an existing one? DMs, are these options for players too powerful for your campaign? What ideas do you have for running the material found in Bigby's? If you'd like to see our first look at everything inside, be sure to check out this video next, but talk to me down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on giants, and until next our paths cross, may you not find out how deadly the Stork Strike could be.